Hello, welcome to today's live. Happy Sunday, everybody. So, normally, I don't do lives on Sundays, okay? However, I've received so many questions and comments about people that are afraid of what's happening with the birthright citizenship that Trump is attempting to do that I thought I would get on, talk a little bit about it, and then I would concentrate a little bit on letting you know how you can prove you're a U.S. citizen easily, okay? And so then I'll do a live. I'll let you know what can be done, and then I'll answer your questions afterwards. So you can go ahead and ask whatever it is you want regarding immigration, and then I will answer from there. Now, before we go, I have to put do not disturb on my phone, or else I'll get like 600 different messages as I'm trying to talk here. And while I'm good at, multitasking, no need to, have all those messages. Okay, there we go. There. Got the do not disturb on. Okay, that's better. Now we can concentrate. Okay, so I hope everybody's having a good weekend, enjoying themselves. So let me just give you a brief recap of the current state of at least one of the things that Trump did. So he attempted to just do an executive order, which said anybody born in the U.S. to someone who's not a U.S. citizen will not be a U.S. citizen. Okay, I mean, that's the gist of what it is. I mean, it goes into a little bit more here and there, but that's the gist. So I know I've said this before, but first things first. Just because he comes on and signs these things and acts like a king and thinks there is no U.S. Constitution or law, it doesn't mean it is, okay? And, we're going to have to just fight for these things for the next 4 years, so we know. Okay, so within a day, one of the biggest lawsuits was filed in Boston, signed on by 22 attorneys general across the U.S. And then there's all kinds of other lawsuits that were filed across the U.S. because of this. And then there was one that was filed in Seattle, and that judge there issued a federal injunction against this going forward, or against it being put into effect right now until it's, heard on the merits, which I'm not a fortune teller, but I told you an injunction would be granted. Okay. I told you this is going to be stopped before it even gets started. Okay. But anyways, we'll see what comes of it. It's so black and white to me. I mean, I'm a lawyer and I live in the gray area. Okay. That's all I do. Meaning, I'm good at making legal arguments where it's neither black nor white. But what Trump did was, this was flat out, it's in the Constitution. You're born in the U.S., you're a U.S. citizen. It's not if you're born in the U.S. to a U.S. citizen, or if you're born in the U.S. and your father isn't on an H-1B, or your mother is not claiming asylum. Okay, it's not like that. Okay, it just simply is not like that. And even if this were to somehow magically get out of the Constitution, the procedures to do it are very, very difficult. Okay? I mean, imagine if he were to say, there's no more First Amendment rights. First Amendment rights are gone. Okay? I mean, that's almost to the level of saying people born in the U.S. are not U.S. citizens. Okay? And so, given that, even if it were ever to become law, the procedures to do it are very, very onerous, okay? Because the founders want to make sure that, a king doesn't come and rule us, and that, if the Constitution's going to be changed, it better have a whole lot of procedural votes in a lot of different forums in order for it to be changed, okay? Now, given that, as it stands now, going through all the court systems and so forth. But the injunction's been issued. So if you happen to have a baby who's born in the U.S. and you're not a U.S. citizen, that person's a U.S. citizen, okay? The executive order has been enjoined, meaning that it will not take effect as we speak, okay? That doesn't mean that it's not going forward in courts and so forth, and ultimately it'll end up in the Supreme Court, okay? But sadly, I'm getting a lot of questions from people who don't look white and are U.S. citizens, and they're saying, I'm afraid that I'm going to be driving down the way tomorrow. I'm going to get stopped by ICE, and they're not going to know I'm a U.S. citizen because my driver's license is not sufficient. What do I do? Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you what to do, okay? Obviously, in most normal circumstances, we wouldn't have to be discussing this, but we do. So you just have to be prepared. It's not a matter of getting mad or a matter of saying you can't do that or a matter of it being illegal or whatever. Just be prepared, okay? So there's two ways, primarily. I mean, there's more, but there's two primary ways that you can immediately prove you're a U.S. citizen, okay? By law, these documents show you're a U.S. citizen, okay? No questions asked. One is a U.S. passport, and the other certificate of naturalization, okay? Now, obviously the original is great, but you don't have to carry the original in your, wallet or your purse because, who knows? Might get stolen, you might lose it, might get dropped out, whatever it is. So what you're going to want to do, just get a copy, okay? Just get a copy of their passport showing your passport number, that's a U.S. passport, and so forth. And also, get a copy of your naturalization certificate. Okay, 2 pieces of paper. And fold them up. And if you're a man, put it in your wallet. If you're a woman, put it in your purse. Unless you carry a wallet too. Whatever. And that's how you can show. So when you get stopped and profiled by ICE, by the police, by whomever, because, it doesn't, I don't know what state you're in, but the local police might feel like they want to now enforce immigration laws, and they might say, well, you don't look white, so therefore you're not a U.S. citizen. So all you have to do, you don't have to get mad, you don't have to get angry, you don't have to get scared. If you get stopped, you just say, look, I have my documents in my wallet, my purse. You just open it up, you pull out, go, here's a copy of my U.S. passport. Here's a copy of my naturalization certificate. That's it. Boom. You're a U.S. citizen. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, mister. I'm sorry, madam. You're on your way. Okay? That's how you easily show that you're a U.S. citizen. Now, if you want to go the extra $1, take a picture of your passport, the passport page, get it down to credit card size, and laminate it, okay? And then put it in your wallet or your purse. It's easy, okay? And you have it. So there it's even smaller, but it's easier to get to. That way, if there's any issues that arise, you will not have any issues at all. Now, I know some of you are now thinking, well, okay, what if I show my naturalization certificate and they start questioning, well, how did you get naturalized? They start getting into it. Well, for my clients, I'm going to give them a third piece of paper, okay, on letterhead, on my law firm letterhead. And I'm going to tell, I do it tactfully, but still strongly, on the law and why they cannot, they being the ICE official, the immigration official, the local police officer, and depending where you are, the federal police officer, whatever, they cannot look at your passport. Whoops. Why is this going off? I put my watch on a timer, and now it's auto timing every 18 minutes. Well, I'll figure out how to get it off after. Sorry. So they cannot inquire into the validity, for example, of your naturalization certificate or your passport. Okay, well, how did you get your passport? What made you qualified to get a passport? How did you get naturalization? Oh, it was through marriage to a U.S. citizen. When did you get married? Who's your spouse? They can't do that. Okay, so I would prepare a letter on letterhead explaining why they cannot do it, what laws exist that mandate that they are not supposed to, and then I can even put on there the procedures of what needs to be done if there happens to be something that causes someone to be denaturalized. Okay, it's a whole procedure. If you're a U.S. citizen through naturalization and the U.S. wants to denaturalize you, they have to file all kinds of papers. You have to end up in court. They have to go through trial. It has to go through, the whole procedure and judgment. And then the trial has to be granted in which to denaturalize you. It is a very, very high burden. Okay, it's not something that's going to happen right away. And if you have a U.S. passport or you have the certificate of naturalization, I'm telling you, that's all you need. And then, again, for my clients who want me to do it, I'll give them a letter on why the officer cannot question them further on it. And if they want to question them further, what the procedures are. Okay? There's a lot of law enforcement and people out there that do abuse their authority. But one of the reasons they abuse their authority is because they don't think you know the law. Okay? I mean, there are a lot of people that are afraid right now because of what's happening. And honestly, you don't have to be. Okay? You have easy ways to show you're a U.S. citizen and so forth. Okay? Now, given that I've said all this, what you might want to do, if you're, for example, a lawful permanent resident, because we don't know where all this is going to go, if you qualify for citizenship, you better apply for it, okay? Just get the stuff done and apply for it so you become a U.S. citizen, okay? The fact is, it's harder to do anything. It's harder for immigration to do anything with someone who's a U.S. citizen than a lawful permanent resident. And by the same token, if you're here on some kind of temporary status, TPS, DACA, humanitarian parole, whatever, find a way to apply for the green card. You want to keep stepping it up so that your stay becomes more permanent, so that it becomes more difficult should things happen to try to remove you. Okay? So that's how it goes. Alrighty. Well, let me go back now through all the people that joined and see if we have any questions, and I'll answer the questions. But I just want to recap very quickly that if you're a U.S. citizen, you cannot be deported. Period. It doesn't matter where you're from. If you are a U.S. citizen, you cannot be deported. If you're a U.S. citizen and you're afraid that ICE or some law enforcement official is going to stop you because of the way you look, just have a copy of your passport, laminate it, make it pretty if you want in your wallet or purse, and a copy of your naturalization certificate. Pull them both out. Be ready. Okay, so there's no issues. All right? Okay. Let me scroll back here. So what's everybody been doing? Oh, thank you for the rose, Rosetta. I always like getting roses. Anyone else who wants to give one, feel free. All right. Okay, I have someone who says he will suspend the Constitution flat out. I mean, he'll try. He can try. I mean, the fact that he comes up with, with all the executive, and we're only talking about one executive order here. That's all. We're talking about the one where he tried to suspend Birthright. He will certainly try. Okay, you'll see it slow down. I mean, you will. I mean, you know he's coming in gung-ho, and the first day, you know they had all those executive orders prepared and all the months waiting for him to become president. And you know of all the executive orders, the vast majority, there's going to be tons of lawsuits, and, you know, every now and then something might go through, who knows? But, you know, anything that tries to repeal or revoke or ignore the Constitution, that's not going to happen. Okay? Even the judges he appointed, I mean, unless they want to consider themselves to be puppets, you know, it won't happen. They're going to rule on the law. That's why they're judges. Okay? All right. Let's see what else we have. A TikToker, your name is TikToker, got the number 2 gifter badge. Thank you. Okay. Which you just moved up to the number 1 gifter badge. All right, let's see. So, man, be patient with me. Cocoa got the number 3 gifter badge. I know all this because I'm scrolling down. Okay, I have an I-130 by my dad. Case pending, got approved 2020. What will happen next? Well, I'm sure you're finding out that just because you have the I-130 doesn't mean that you're home free. Okay, all that's done is it proved he's your dad and you're his son. Okay, and so I don't know where you are, if you're inside the U.S. or outside the U.S. It depends. It depends procedurally where you are, what can be done. I mean, obviously, that since that's been done, you want to move to the next step, which ultimately will result in lawful permanent residency. But if you come into my office, I need to see if you're inadmissible. I need to see if any waivers need to be done. I need to see if the visa number's available. I mean, you might be from a country where the I-130's just been approved, but it won't be another 10 years before the visa number becomes current. If that's the case, you're just going to be sitting around for a while until it happens. So I need more information. Okay, but it's a good start. Okay. So, I mean, you say it got approved on 2020, which means you're obviously waiting for the visa number to become current. So I'd need to look at the visa chart and see. I suspect you're over 21. I don't know if you're married or single. I don't know if your dad's a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. Okay, because those all fall under different preferences. Okay, let's see. I like what TikToker said. Learner. That's me every single time. I like that. Okay. If I didn't work all my life and I won the green card, can I get it anyways? I'm not sure I understand your question. I don't know if you're talking about the lottery. You know, the green card lottery. I think this is what you're saying. You come from some country where you applied for, that qualifies for the diversity lottery. By the way, the diversity lottery, the reason they call it the diversity lottery, is 55,000 people around the world in countries that do not have a lot of immigrants to the U.S. Like, for example, if you're from Mexico, the Philippines, India, China, you're never going to be able to get the lottery because there's already enough people that come from those countries. It's from countries that we don't have a lot of immigrants. And at least before the current administration, when, we like people from around the world, they can apply. And if they win, they can come in. So your question is, if you didn't work your whole life, can you still get the green card? Well, you have to show you're not going to become a public charge. Okay, it doesn't matter that you didn't work all your life, but you have to show you're not going to become a public charge. And that means you need to show a certain amount of income. And if you can't show it, you need to get a joint affidavit of support. Okay, you also need to be not inadmissible. And you also need to do this timely. If you won, just understand that there's 55,000 per year, yet they flat out send approvals to 100,000 people. You're saying why? Because they know some aren't going to answer in time. They know some aren't going to qualify. And of the 100,000, they know a lot of them are just not, it's just not going to happen. So you need to hurry, because if you don't, you're out. Okay, and that's it. You have to do it again. Okay. Cocoa moved up to the number 1 position. Thank you. Let's see. Do you say your first name? And young, Oh, I see. Do you say, I think what you're asking, you say, okay, this guy says, do you say your first name? And if you have been here since you were young, are you to state that? Okay. So that goes on with what this is about. Okay. So I'm assuming, Carlos, that you're going to have either your passport or your naturalization certificate to show you're a U.S. citizen. It's not that you really have to state your first name, or you do or don't. When you show your documents, it will have your first name and your last name on it. You don't have to state that you've been here since you were young. See, this goes into the fear that people have of what's going to happen if they get stopped. Okay? You just have to, you can be nice, but you just have to, with some authority, say, here is my passport. You can say U.S. passport. Here's my U.S. passport and a copy of my certificate of naturalization. You can say your whole name. My name is Carlos, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I'm a U.S. citizen. Okay? You can show these documents prove I'm a U.S. citizen. You don't have to say, it proves I'm a U.S. citizen. By the way, I've been here since I was 4 years old. My mother and father came here as residents, and then they became citizens, and then they petitioned me, and ultimately I became a citizen, and then I got my... You don't have to go into all that. You don't have to prove to that person that stopped you how you became a U.S. citizen. You don't have to do that. You just have to show you are a U.S. citizen. And you know, the way that you're being stopped is, you know, there's a whole story on that anyways. You know, that should never happen in the first place, but it's going to. That's the reality. So just be prepared. Have those 2 copies of documents with you, and that's all you need. And be nice. Hello, officer. Good afternoon. Here is a copy of my passport. Here is a copy of my naturalization certificate. These show I'm a U.S. citizen. That's it. Okay? That's all you got to do. All right. Let's see what else we have. Okay. Just a minute. Just scrolling down. Okay, my husband is in jail, but ICE wanted him, but it will take 48 hours, and he is married to me. What should, I assume you're going to say he do. Okay, so this is from Eva Lopez. Okay, well, first, I need to know why he's in jail. Okay, he obviously committed some crime, and I need to know if he is an aggravated felon or not. Okay, I need to know if you're a U.S. citizen. I'm assuming you're a U.S. citizen, and I'm assuming that he's been in jail for some time, so there's a reasonable possibility that he's an aggravated felon. And the fact that he's married to you isn't going to change the fact that he can't just adjust status, okay? I'm assuming if you're already married to him and you're a U.S. citizen, you would have already petitioned him. Now, you might not have petitioned him because he's in jail, and he might still qualify. Keep in mind, just because he's transferred to immigration detention, which he will, they have a hold on him, and he will be transferred, that's not the point. The point is whether he can win, okay? Whether he can bond out, and then whether he can win, whether he qualifies for cancellation of removal, maybe he qualifies for asylum, withholding, maybe he qualifies for adjustment through you with a waiver. There's all kinds of stuff he may qualify for. The bottom line with you is what should he do is get representation. That's the bottom line. I mean, I could go on for 2 hours, the different paths that might be able to be taken, but he needs representation. And what they're going to do is ICE officials are going to go to him and go, look, you have no chance. You have to sign here. You're going to be deported. Otherwise, you're going to immigration detention for the next 30 years and you're going to die in there. Okay, they're going to say stuff like that. Okay, don't sign anything. Tell him not to sign anything. If you're asking what he should do, he should not sign anything. Say he wants to see an immigration judge and then get representation, okay, by an immigration attorney who does representation in immigration court. Okay. Let me keep scrolling down here, see if we have any more questions. Thank you for all the people that liked the live. I appreciate it. Okay. What about asylees? I'm assuming that you're asking, are asylees safe from deportation? And, I mean, there's issues, okay? I mean, if you are an asylee, it depends where in the process you are, okay? Did you get granted asylum and you're waiting for the year in which to apply for lawful permanent residency? Okay, I want to say theoretically you're safe, but who knows what he's going to try to do with that. But there's all kinds of ways of fighting this stuff in court. So, as of right now, if you're an asylee that you won and you're just waiting for the year so you can apply for residency, make sure you got it prepared and ready to go out the door, okay? Get it done so you become a resident, okay? If you're in asylum proceedings, okay, you can still fight your asylum, okay? You just have to wait for the date to be called to go and fight your asylum, but you should get your asylum packet supplemented so it's a lot stronger, okay? I have a lot of people, they think all they need to do is fill out the application and answer some questions and they're in and they're going to get granted asylum. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. Okay, you have to show all kinds of stuff. Okay, thank you, Zach. Got the number 3 gifter badge. All right, let's see. Wait, it just went down. Okay, I'm trying to go up all the questions here. Sometimes I scroll and it just goes down like 100 people. Then I got to scroll back up to where I was. Just a minute. Give me a second. Be patient, Patagon. Okay. 1 sec. Oh my God. I got so many questions at the end. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to all of them. What do I think of Trump? If you've known me for more than 5 minutes, you know. But I want to say, keep an open mind. Be ready to go to the immigration attorneys. We're going to be fighting it for 4 years. That's all. Okay? Don't have an ulcer. Don't get mad. Don't get sad. Just be ready and be ready to rock and roll. And don't take what he does as the gospel truth. Okay? I have so many questions here at the bottom. I'm just trying to scroll up to where I was. Just a minute. Okay, well, let's just start here. Just a second. Let me just start here. Okay. Okay, I answered about the asylees. Can I file if I'm married? I mean, it depends. I don't know. Can you file to get your green card? Just because you marry a U.S. citizen or resident doesn't mean you can get the green card. I would need to see how you entered the country, if you're inside or outside, if there's grounds of inadmissibility. Okay. Rosetta just got the number 3 gifter badge. Okay. How many months does it take if I marry someone who has a green card? Well, I assume you're asking how many months does it take to get the green card? And sometimes it's not months, sometimes it's longer. Okay, depends what country they're from. It depends what the backlog is. It depends if you qualify to adjust or if you have to consulate process. Okay, what about permanent residence? I think you're saying, what if you have the green card? Are you still, in line to possibly be deported? And the answer is possibly, but it depends. Okay, I need to see if you're inadmissible. Oh my God, what the heck? Just a minute. Clock, stopwatch. Can you believe this? I have something that I accidentally... Oh, there we go. Repeat. There we go. I got it. Yay. I accidentally pressed the repeat on. Okay. So you have to... I have to see. Okay. If you're here as a resident and you're not inadmissible, they can't just take it away. Okay. There's nothing that they can do that just take it away. And if he tries to do that, there are going to be courts up and down all over the place. Okay. And I mean, lawsuits filed. Okay. USCIS is accepting application for marriage petition? Yes. There's nothing that has changed that stops that. Okay. But it's whether you qualify or not. Okay. Thank you, Emanuela. You got the number 3 gifter badge. Okay. Just a minute. My husband's married to me and I'm a U.S. citizen. But the jail has him on hold. Okay. Eva, I spoke to you about this. I need more information. Okay. What about my question? Kakoa, I hope I answered you. Okay, just a minute. If I'm a citizen but I don't have a passport yet, what can I carry with me? Okay, well, if you're a citizen, I mean, there's ways of becoming a citizen or being a citizen without a, believe it or not, without a passport or naturalization certificate. But I'll save that for another one. I'm assuming that you were naturalized. Okay, do you have your naturalization certificate? Okay, if not, get it. If you don't have your passport, get it. Okay, apply for it. Get down to business. Okay, it doesn't take that long. I mean, it takes longer to get a certificate of naturalization if you need to get a copy of it than it does to get the passport. That's the fact. Okay, make an appointment, go down, get the passport. Okay. Should permanent residents need to walk with their green card? I mean, you should do that anyways. Okay, you really should do that anyways. But yes. And if you don't want to walk with your real green card because you're afraid it'll get stolen or lost, get a copy of it so you have proof that you're here legally. Okay, so I know that the main purpose of this video is to show how you're a U.S. citizen, but if you're a lawful permanent resident, same thing applies, except obviously you won't have a U.S. passport or a certificate of naturalization, but you certainly will have your green card. Get it, okay? Make sure you do that. And if you ever lose it or ever you want double then go down to immigration and get an I-551 stamp in your passport. That also, sorry, your foreign passport. Okay. All right. Just a minute. The lottery, yes, I was told they asked for. Oh, yes. Okay, sorry, Kakoa. Yes, they do ask for work experience. Okay, but there are ways around that. Don't give up. Okay. Again, there's ways to show you won't become a public charge. Do you know anybody in the U.S. who's a lawful permanent resident or U.S. citizen who'd be willing to sign a joint affidavit of support for you? Okay, if not, do you own property? Do you have bank accounts? Okay, I mean, if you haven't ever worked, how are you getting your money? Who does work? Okay, who pays the bills? Okay, there's ways. Okay, contact me. I can help you. Does speeding tickets affect the N400 applications? Generally, no. Okay, but, if you're going like 150 miles an hour in a school zone where there were kids crossing the street, that's reckless, and that may. If you're going 42 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone, well, it depends. Generally not, but obviously you have to disclose it. Then it will affect it if you don't disclose it. Because I guarantee you they're going to have that information. They don't ask you if you've ever had a ticket or if you've ever been arrested because they want you to sit there and tell them for the first time. They know it all before they ask you. They just want to see if you're going to lie. And then if you lie, boom, naturalization certificate denied, misrepresentation. Okay? You've just fallen into the puddle that they made. All right? What about people that came here underage and were under guardianship, got TPS once, 18? Okay, same thing. I mean, I've said this before. If you're on TPS, then find a way to get the green card. If you're already under 18 or you're under 21, you might qualify for SIJ, okay, Special Immigrant Juvenile petition, where you show various things, get state order, and ultimately you get the green card. And unlike what Kakoa was asking about, the having to show financial responsibility and so forth, you don't have to show that at all with a SIJ petition. Nothing. Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, well, Eva, I answered your question. I need more information. Well, Jason got the #1 gifter badge. Okay. Let's see. Okay, well, Emanuela, you repeated it yourself a few times. You guys don't have to repeat the questions. I'll get to it. Okay? Again, how many months does it take if you marry someone who has a green card? There's a lot of issues with that. I need to see if you qualify. I need to make sure that the marriage is bona fide. You can't just get married because you're afraid you're going to be deported. That's not legal. Okay? All right. The chosen one got the number 3 gifter badge. All right, just a second. I have some people who repeated their questions multiple times. I was granted asylum. Would I get deported? Okay, well, here we go. Okay, you were granted asylum, and under the law, you have to wait 1 year in which to apply for lawful permanent residency. Okay, so how close are you to that 1 year? And if he does something that makes it so that you've been granted but that you don't qualify anymore, that's going to court backward and forward. Okay, that's not going to happen. You may have to fight if he does something like that, but as of right now, no problem. Make sure you apply. And of course, you have to be admissible. If you're, if you have something that's inadmissible, you might need to get a waiver. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay. I have like 3 people that have asked their questions over and over here, but I've answered them. J1 visa holder here. Hello. Married to USA Army captain, but have 2-year restriction in my book. Can help. Okay. Well, a couple things. First, it's great you're married to an Army captain, because if you were here illegally or you were out of status, you could apply for parole in place, which gives the fiction that you came here legally, and then you could adjust status. But nothing is going to allow you to adjust status, whether he's in the Army or not, unless you get the 2 years waived. Okay? You need to do a J waiver. Okay? There's no way around that. Okay? I mean, the fact that he's a captain in the Army may give more reason that they might grant the waiver, but that by itself doesn't help you. Okay? So you must do the J waiver. Period. Okay? It's just getting it granted. All right. Okay, just answered you. Okay. I am married with an EU citizen. Can I go to Europe? Well, that has nothing to do... Oh, sorry. You're asking me based on European immigration law, if you're married to someone who's from Europe, if you can do that. I have no idea. I do U.S. immigration law. Okay? Ask me any question about U.S. immigration. This has to go to a European immigration attorney. Okay? Sorry. I did tell you, anything you ask about U.S. immigration law, without exception, I can answer. But that's not U.S. immigration law. All right. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. Okay, naturalization certificate says no photo or copy should be taken of and copies of the documents. That's a good point. Okay? That's an accurate statement. But as an attorney, I can do it. I can certify that it's accurate. Okay, so if you want to follow that exactly, I mean, you can either bring your original naturalization certificate, because you do have a point there. Yes. You can bring your original naturalization certificate, or go to an immigration attorney to get it. I mean, again, they can make the copy and they can certify that the copy is the same as the original. Okay, that's what you should do. Okay. All right. How long does it take to approve an I-601 waiver for an admissibility? That depends. I mean, first of all, I know you're wording the question like this because you just want to know when the approval's coming, but you understand that it might not be approved. It's a discretionary decision. Okay, it's like a scale. You have to convince them to say yes. So it might not. I think what you want to say is how long will it take them to adjudicate the waiver. Okay, so it might be a yes or a no. It depends where you are. If you're inside the country or outside the country, it depends if you qualify and so forth. But on average, 6 months to a year. Okay? If you win the green card while I'm in the USA and start a process, can I start it here? I think what you're asking is, if you win the diversity lottery, but you're in the US and you're not here legally, can you use the diversity lottery winning to do it? And the answer is, that by itself, the answer is no. Okay, it doesn't automatically allow you to do it. So the question is whether you'd qualify for a waiver, whether you have to leave, how long you've been unlawfully present. Okay. Zach got the number 3 gifter badge. Appreciate it. So I'm just saying, I have 922 likes. We got to get up above 1,000. Oh, thanks for the rose. Many thing. Okay. Let's see. It's a good thing I have a good memory here because I have people that have asked the same question over, and if I didn't have a good memory, I would forget I answered it and then answer the same thing again. Unless you want to see if I'm answering the question the same the second time around, which I would. Okay. Okay. You're asking, does a copy of your document suffice, or do you need to show the original? I mean, obviously the original is better. Okay, that's what. Oh, thanks. You guys put me over 1,000. Thank you. The originals are always better. That's without doubt. But not everybody wants to carry their passport with them all the time. Okay, and it's not like you have to. The law doesn't require it. But I know you're afraid. Okay. I mean, what if someone steals your passport? What if it falls? Whatever. So the the copy will suffice for now, but if you're afraid, carry the original. But what you can also do, you know how, like if you have an iPhone and you have your wallet in the iPhone, the iWallet, or whatever it's called, and you have all the stuff, you can have your passport in as one of the tabs of the wallet in your iPhone. Okay, and I'm assuming that Samsung and all that, I'm giving myself away, I have an iPhone. But Samsung and all that, they probably have the same similar thing. You can have on your phone a nice color copy also of your naturalization certificate and your passport. Real deal thing. And you can have it on the front screen, the home screen, so you can just, if you pull it out, tap, it's right there. If you have it on the wallet, on the iPhone, you just get to the wallet, you go down, and boom, it's right there. Okay? So you can have different ways of doing it. You don't have to just show the paper. Okay? So that's that. Okay? Let's see. I have someone who's applied for the I-45 since July. Nothing's happened yet. Do you know in immigration law? I mean, we're talking July, August, September, October, November, I mean, 5 months. In immigration law, 5 months is like a drop in the bucket. Okay, nothing. Okay, it's okay. I mean, I assume you got a receipt notice of some sort. Um, I mean, realistically, it takes a year, give or take, and I don't know where you are. Godlove, you got the number 2 gifter badge. It depends where you are. If you're in LA, it's going to take longer, obviously, than if you're in Montana. Okay, so it just depends where you are, but everything's fine. Okay, I mean, if you did a joint filing of the 45 and the I-130, you're not going to necessarily get a receipt notice, but you should get a notice fairly soon of at least to get your biometrics taken. Okay. All right, what if your asylum case is pending and you just filed your work permit? Okay, well, I think the question is based on this live, whether or not you qualify or whether or not you're going to be deported. And as it stands now, especially if you've already filed the asylum case, the answer is no. But I say that with a question mark because I don't know what he's going to try to do. I mean, with trying to do the, erase birthright, okay? I mean, theoretically, he could come tomorrow and say, anyone who's applied for asylum doesn't qualify, denied, okay? I mean, obviously, if he does that, it'll all go to court. It'll show that's not legal. It'll show why, and so forth. But as it stands now, just make sure your asylum case is as strong as it can be, okay? If you have a DUI 21 years ago, is it going to be a problem to fix your status? And I mean, generally, no, okay, but you have to be careful. Okay, I have people who have stuff that they expunged a long time ago, and they don't think they have to disclose it on an immigration application, and then they get it denied, and then they get a charge of misrepresentation and fraud, and now they have to do a waiver. Okay, so if it's done properly, you should be able to go through smoothly, okay? My husband put on his I-9 he was a permanent resident when he wasn't. Will that affect our case? Yes. Yes. But you can thank the stars that he didn't put he was a U.S. citizen. If he put he was a U.S. citizen, you need to make sure of this too. Okay? I don't know why he would put, it's very rare that I hear this, that they lie about being a permanent resident. Okay? 99% of the time they're going to lie and they're going to say they're a U.S. citizen. So if he said he was a U.S. citizen, which to be honest with you is more likely the case, big, big problems. It depends when he did it. Okay, if he did it before 1996, then it's just fraud, and then it's a matter of doing a waiver. If he did it after 96, then I need to know if he knew what he was doing, if he checked the boxes, how he did it, where he did it. Okay, just checking as a permanent resident, that's fraud, and he obviously did it to get the job, and a waiver would need to be done. And yes, an immigration waiver needs to be done, but I would need to make 100% sure that he didn't put he was a U.S. citizen, because I'm willing to bet you that he did. Okay. Okay, you say you're in Virginia. Well, they don't have near as backlog of like New York or Florida or L.A., but still 5 months is just a teeny little time. Okay, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. Okay. If you haven't heard in the next 3 months, at least for your biometric appointment, then it's a problem. Okay, then it's an issue. Contact me. Okay, can an owner... I was just reading a question. Can an owner of finance property with a 40% down payment qualify for an E2 visa? Well, that's a good question. Okay, and I can't just answer you right off the bat because an E2, there's all kinds of requirements. Is this going to make you 51% owner? Is the investment substantial? Are we talking 100,000, 50,000, 200,000? Okay. Is the down payment through a mortgage? Okay. Theoretically, what you're asking would qualify, but I need more information. Okay. I mean, are you a citizen of a country that allows E2 visas? We need to start there. Okay. This person says, you're going to need a 994. If I don't have one, is that where the problem is? Well, if you don't have a 994, yes, that's a problem. Okay, that means you didn't enter the country legally. So it's a problem. Sorry, don't know anything about car accident cases, although there's one thing I know. I know to refer you to a good attorney. Okay, I need to know what state you're in so I can refer you. Where do I ask the question? You can ask right here. Okay, or you can email me. With a work permit, can you get deported? Yes, it's possible. Because the work permit itself doesn't give you legal status. It just allows you to work. So you know how you got the work permit. And I know what can be done to get you more than just that. Okay. Just a second, it went up. Are you kidding me? God, that's the fourth time that's happened. I thought I turned it off. Okay. What's the 601A processing time? I mean, don't just concern yourself with just the processing time. Don't assume that you're going to win right off the bat. You have to have a really good 601A. But if you do have a good 601A, you're looking at 6 months to a year. And in some cases more. Okay. I've had jurisdictions that it was up to a year and a half. It's crazy. And it used to be so much quicker. What's the cost for a consultation? My office does the initial consultation for free, which only takes a few minutes because I can find everything I need to and let you know what the costs and procedures are. But if you want more detail, then I do 20-minute consultation, $250, 30-minute consultation, $350. Okay? It's not that there's an I-601 wait list. That's not the issue. It's processing time. It just takes a long time because there's a lot of people in front of you. Okay? All right, let's see. Don't be sorry. I'm glad I was able to answer your question. What do you think about traveling? Okay, so this person's asking me what I think about traveling domestically right now, and I'm assuming that this person is not here legally. Okay, if you are here legally, then obviously there's no problem at all. But if you're not, then yeah, there's some issues. It depends where you're traveling. Okay, there might be some ICE officials on the other end. If you're taking a bus, you might go over the border and there might be somebody. Okay, I mean, you might not want to do that. Okay. Let's see. Is there any way to expedite the green card application for Afghans? The answer is no way. Okay. The way you could do it is make sure it's done right. Okay. My wife's been here for 20 years, no record, has a temporary Social Security. Can I marry her to help her become legal? Well, that depends. Okay. I don't know if you're a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. I don't know how your wife entered the country. I don't know if any waivers need to be done, but it's possible. Okay, a temporary Social Security number means nothing. Nothing. It doesn't help or hurt the case unless she got it by fraud, unless she claimed to be a U.S. citizen to get it. Okay. Can a DACA get an EB-5 or the one you can invest $100K? Well, the EB-5 is over $1 million. The one over 100 is the E2. And if you're on DACA, that means you don't have legal status as far as being able to change status. So you're not going to be able to get an E2. As far as the EB-5, you need $1 million. So I assume because you're asking 100, you might not have $1 million. So let me know. I'm waiting for my interview on my marriage-based case. Well, good luck to you. Okay, I need to know where you are. Are you in the U.S. or outside the U.S.? Okay, well, I just keep getting questions. And, well, it's Sunday. We all have to go relax and watch some TV now. Okay? So if I didn't get to your question, I apologize. But you can certainly, ask me. And I'm all over the place. Okay, you'll be able to find me. Brian D. Lerner, immigration attorney, certified specialist in immigration nationality law, about to go have a relax, watch some TV. Okay, so hopefully I helped people today understand a bit more about how to be safe. And I'll do some more lives in the coming week. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend.